welcome back to episode 4, known as Isolation.
Disclaimer. What we're going to talk about today might be upsetting to people, but we're talking about our personal experiences and how we've been feeling dealing with lockdown, etc. Everything involved within what we're going to talk about today. So sorry ahead of time if this upsets you or you find it insulting. It's merely our opinion. So anyway.
Yes, so basically, as me and Adam have been friends for a very long time, and the fact that we've never, at this generation's not really gone through this kind of pandemic before. I mean, there's plenty of other incidents where something worldwide has affected people to this effect. And it's kind of just incredible to think that we'd ever be in this scenario where we're all kept up in our homes, and how we've had to adapt basically. So we decided to make a bit more of a serious tone due to the fact that our previous episodes have been a bit more light-hearted. So basically, we're just going to discuss how our lives have kind of changed, or what we've had to do to break the boredom and literally try to remember that other people are suffering out there, and try and do the best that we can to try and help other people, because as we're both streamers, you get to witness a lot of people's distress and people being bummed down about it, people being upset, angry, and even some people coming up with their own theories about this whole thing. So it's been an interesting experience from a streaming perspective. And then when it comes to our personal lives, obviously not everyone sees our personal lives, and so we're going to kind of try and mix those things together and just have a discussion about it. So if you would like to simply discuss how it's affected you.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one, because like when it first happened, like you said, we've never really had to, I mean, at least in my lifetime, we've never had this massive thing where it's like it stopped you from going outside. You know, if you was outside for a certain period of time, you get a fine. Like there's really restricted rules. People were saying, like, I think the last time you had like such a worldwide effort was like World War II was probably the last time that was such like a serious thing where people couldn't even go outside and stuff. Like it's been a long time, but back at the start, it seemed like it wouldn't be this kind of massive thing like it has been. I mean, we're coming up on nearly like a year now. I can't remember the exact date that the first lockdown started. I know it was March something, but it's been nearly a year in March. But a lot of people weren't taking it seriously. They thought, oh, we'll just wear a mask, and then you have to wash your hands. And then because the government has gone like flip-flopped, haven't they, with their ideas of, go outside and then don't go outside. Everyone's heard the meme of Boris: you go outside, don't go outside, wash your hands, all the rest of it. Because they haven't, I feel personally that they didn't give us a clear enough message. As soon as they should have. They were just kind of, because obviously they're trying to work it out themselves as well. So I personally don't blame Boris for everything. Some things I feel like they could have, as the government as well. It's obviously just not him, but I feel like there's some things they could have handled a bit better. But for the majority of it, I feel like it's been handled fairly well with how they've done things, considering that they've never had to deal with this before, which is what people seem to forget. In terms of like things that I've struggled with personally with it, since the restrictions have got more tighter on it, and you're okay not seeing people like your friends and stuff for a couple of weeks or maybe even a couple of months, because majority of people, especially when you get a bit older in your life, you don't see all your friends all the time, because that's kind of just how naturally life goes. You'll go off and get families or jobs, and you just kind of get on with life. You see your friends occasionally. I personally would go and see my friends like probably twice a month, if that. But when it's getting to nearly the 6-month mark, the 9-month mark, the nearly a year mark, it just starts to get to you a bit. You start to feel down about it, and it's, when is it ever going to end? And coming from my personal experience on the topic, where I've got a child at home as well, and obviously she's never had to deal with this before, as of many other parents. I've been exactly the same boat. A lot of people have said it's so much harder for parents of this decade because like none of the parents ever had to deal with this before. Do you know what I mean? They've never had this problem, or
Yeah,
they've never.
exactly.
I mean, what do you say to a child when they ask you when are we going about to go to the park again, or go a lot properly? I mean, and when are going to go to my friend's house, and you don't even have an answer for them. It's just so because obviously as a parent you want to comfort them and let them like give them some sort of hope so they can kind of feel happy about the subject almost a little bit, so they're not constantly worrying about it. But then because you don't have an answer for them, you feel horrible, and it's like, well, what are you meant to really do? Do you know what I mean? Because like no one really knows what's happening. No one knows because they've said that what is it going to be the 8th of March that they think the schools are going to open again, and then I mean they still haven't given a date from when we can all go back to normal, whatever that's going to mean. Because I don't personally think we're ever going to go back to normal now. I think you're always going to have to wear a mask for at least another year at least.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I think the restrictions on like hygiene are going to be so much more higher than I mean, to be fair, they probably should have been anyway. Because I was always disgusted with how people are in public with the hygiene and stuff anyway. So like if they're coughing in your face and stuff, I always felt that was kind of wrong. Like personally, when you're like on a bus and stuff and people coughs and it's like, can you not? But like I feel like that sort of stuff is going to be so much more restrictive now because of COVID. So it's like, in one sense, it's good because of the restrictions will go up and it will help everyone's hygiene in general. But on the other sense, when it's just so different to how everything was before, and it's like going to be really weird when you actually do get to see your friends. Like it's going to be, I mean, when if we ever get to see our friends, because it's still, there's countries like Australia that at least don't have it anymore. Like they're fine, and that's because they did the right things at the right time. Whereas because we've delayed it, I mean, why are we still allowing people to leave the country on planes and stuff? Like they should have shut it down. That's the one thing I don't agree with. They should have shut it down and not let people in until we're completely COVID free. But the fact that they're still letting people in and out, I know there's like things in place of the check-in 24-hour, people go into isolation for like 2 weeks and everything else, and 14 days, whatever. But I still think it should have all just been completely shut down until we got rid of everything. I know it's going down. They've said the R rating's gone down quite a lot recently. That's mainly because no one's gone outside. So what do they think is going to happen when people start going outside again? It's going to be the same thing that happened at Christmas, isn't it? It's just going to shoot back up again, and we'll probably end up at another lockdown. It's just I personally don't see an end to it, and this is what caused me to take a week off. And I took a week off from streaming last week due to a lot of other things on top. Kind of just everything piled on top. There was some stresses from real life on top of stresses of running a Discord and stresses of being getting content out for doing editing and streaming and everything else, and it all just kind of piled on top of you, and I needed a break from it all. On top of all of that, you've got lockdown where you don't know when you're going to see your friends again. Do you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
just and homeschooling is a massive problem as well. Just all of everything is just such a pile-on of emotions, and you just sometimes it's just too much. Where I just needed a break from like everything, and this is the thing, you can't even have a break because where can you go? You go for a walk for an hour maximum. That's all you're allowed to do. So I went for a walk the other night, like 8 o'clock at night, just to get some fresh air, just because I hadn't been outside for like a week. Like it's so weird, um, and it
Yeah.
just gets a bit much.
Yeah, it's gotten to that point where normality has restrictions, and I think it's it because I know a lot of people, as you said, when this thing first started, a lot of people were confused, didn't understand. Oh, this or the origin of this came from China. Next thing you know, it's spreading through Italy, and then the next thing you know, you blink an eye and everyone's bloody got it.
Yeah,
So it was just such a surreal experience at the time, and it still is due to the fact that it, even that we've gotten used to it, it's still so discouraging that just the fact that you like when you're about to leave your house just to go to the shops, like you put your coat on, get your keys. Oh, wait a minute, I need the other necessity thing, a mask, and it's like
yeah,
it's that actual like mentality of you need this Otherwise, you will not be, you wouldn't, you're not going to be a customer, basically.
Not even that,
No,
you can get
no one's going
arrested
to
for it.
serve you.
You can
Yeah.
get fined and arrested now. Yeah, it's mad.
Mm. And it's insane that there's a lot of people that have not took this seriously, because it's. I, I know this is the part where the disclaimer is going to kick in. There are so many selfish people out there that literally do not care about other people's well-beings, and have this kind of legit lack of common sense when it comes to this. If people could literally understand how serious this is, because I know that when some people have been tested positive, they've just been like, oh, it was only the sniffles for 2 weeks and I was fine, right as rain afterwards. It depends of your genetic makeup, basically.
Yeah, it's
If
case
you,
by case. Yeah.
yeah, and like, but you try to, and the news and the medias have tried to explain this in literally the simplest way possible. And even if people don't understand it, there are other means of information to know about this pandemic. And some people still, to this day, still think that this thing does not exist, which blows my
Yeah,
mind.
these people think it's a theory, or like people, it's made up by the government. It's like, really? Like, I,
And mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling.
it really is. Yeah, it shocks the hell out of me that some people, like these people, I don't even, you've probably seen them yourself, that go out and put holes in the masks with the masks on. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you're an idiot. Like,
Yeah,
it's you're just being an idiot for the sake of it. Like, what you're just saying no because it's the cool thing to do. Well, it's not even the cool thing to do. People just think you're a moron for doing that. Like, people that I mean, people probably don't know this, but like, well, if you follow the news, you would have. But since from like December till January, or from December, yeah, from December till January, we lost like 50,000 people due to COVID. That's only like less than a month ago, and people are like, "Oh, it's fine now. It's not really even a thing. We don't need to wash our hands, wear a mask, or apply the rules." I know so many people that are moaning about the restrictions and when's it going to end, and this is ridiculous that I can't do this and I can't go see my family and all the rest of it, right? Yeah, they're the ones that aren't following any of the rules and haven't been from the start, and not the biggest hypocrite. And it's like, you don't get to moan about it because you're part of the problem. Do you know what I mean?
exactly. 100%.
It's so
It,
frustrating.
yeah, it's crazy to think that a lot of these people are just like, well, I haven't been infected by it. Well, I haven't had it. Well, that's because, one, maybe you're in a location that has a low chance rate. Maybe it's just due to the fact that you and your immediate family have been lucky during this incident. That does not mean that the rest of the world is imaginary virus, whatever's going
It's
around,
just,
like,
they think it's conspiracy theory, don't they? Like,
yeah, yeah,
it's silly.
like, people think it's making shit up. Why on God's green earth would the whole world have a massive, you know,
For a laugh.
do it for just jokes? You know what I mean? It's not prank videos on YouTube, mate. It's
Boris just
fucking
comes
real
out and is like,
life.
"Lol, got you all."
I was never in the hospital. Gotcha, bitch. I was in on holiday in Jamaica. Just like, oh my God, like, seriously. And then I actually know someone. I'm not going to tell them the name, obviously, but they were just like, I don't believe in this. There's no evidence and blah, blah, blah. It's all made up and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, say that to the people that I know that have died. So
Yeah,
tell them people that are no longer with us, that died in a not so comfortable way. Um, you tell them that it's fake and not real. Please do.
I've
And
heard.
then got a leg to stand on when it comes to it.
Oh yeah, no, they're idiots, and this is the thing. Until it happens to them, like they ain't gonna care because it's a
Yeah,
selfish attitude. So it's like, well, it hasn't happened to me or anyone close to me, therefore it's either not real or I don't care about it.
mm,
And that's the same people that I was talking about a minute ago that don't listen to the restrictions, but then also moan about the restrictions. It's like I know I've had so many different levels of this. Like I know people that have had it. I know people that have known people that have had families that have died from it. I know people that are working in the NHS and have worked like 60-hour weeks as a care worker and have had no sleep and they're getting sores from wearing a mask for so long. Like it's a real crazy thing that people have to deal with. And these people that are just jolly on, not listening to people and being selfish knobheads because I don't even know what reason. Like, I don't see why you wouldn't think it's real at this point. There's literally, you turn on the TV, you're going to hear about it. Like, it's the most talked about thing in the world probably at the minute. Like, I don't get these people, and it really, really frustrates me. I don't. People are so desperate to just say no to stuff all the time. I don't. It's just like what.
It's a defiance thing. Yeah, I think it stems on the problem that some people just don't like to because they think this is a form of control. It's not a form of control. Our government and all the governments around the world, the higher powers, whatever, whoever's in charge, are trying to find the best way to do this. Yeah, some of them aren't doing a great job, or some of the things that they've tried to do aren't great, and probably one of the worst examples is the fact that the ex-president of America literally got it. Then he got a treatment for it, and then he came in all preachy back on his White House, going, oh, "This thing's not a big deal." Like it's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, you are leading one of the biggest country in terms of power in the world, arguably, and you have the audacity to say that. What kind of leader are you trying to be by making out? This is how he lost the election, I think, because he made it out like it wasn't a big deal because he got tested because he's got the most the best doctors in the
Oh
world
yeah,
helping his
if he
ass.
needs any miracle drug, he's got it. Like
Yeah,
they were
and
probably
and
stabbing him with stem cells to get him better, like straight away. So
I'm pretty sure he's getting younger. So it's a weird, and like so you can't say that to the common person who's literally even the fact that people that don't even have homes, like the homeless and stuff, they get it. They're fucked. It's game over. That is just a no go. And then you have the people that are really young, people that are really old, people that are just have pretty much no immune system whatsoever and once they have it, it's you might as well just premeditate their funeral because like it's so fucked. And yeah, I know some people that have had it, literally no like for example, my stepbrother, he had it and he didn't get any of the symptoms. Didn't get any of the symptoms. He was tested positive for it, didn't get any of the symptoms. And you know what? Even he has like, okay, I got lucky because he's has brain cells. He has the thought process of like we understand that this is basically a virus that is pretty much like Russian roulette
yeah,
in a sense.
you can't say either way, can you? It's so different, and the fact that there's different strains and it mutates in different people, and it's just there's no you can't say this person isn't going to get it because literally around the corner from me, the university around from me, like a 22-year-old died in the flat in uni, and they didn't even know, and they found his body like a couple of days later, and it was COVID related. And that's like, and you know how they were saying for ages, oh, young people are fine, they'll never get it. And now you're seeing more and more cases of like under 30s are getting it and stuff. And it's
Mm.
like because it's you can't just say this person won't get it because like you said, their immune system could be low, or they could have a pre-existing problem that's caused them to not be able to fight off as easily. You just don't know these things, and this is why like since March I've been taking like multivitamins and stuff every day and like vitamin D tablets to boost your immune system and stuff, so you've got more of a chance to fight it all. And people like have laughed about it when I've told them about them taking vitamins and stuff. And it's like, well, why? All it's doing is making your body more able to fight off infection. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, that's just, and it's been proven that high vitamin D helps you less likely to, have bad side effects to it, or able to not, able to more of a resistance to it, kind of thing. Because people with low vitamin deficiency can catch it easier and get more ill from it. That's kind of how it works. At least how it works in the beginning. I know there's a different strain now, but And then there's just people that are saying, "Oh, don't get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine. It's gonna end up killing you." All the rest of it. And it's, I even saw the other day. I saw some. This is how dumb some people are with about it. I saw. Do you remember the I Am Legend film with Will
Yeah.
Smith and the dog? That whole film was based in 2021 around a vaccination that killed everybody, and everyone's saying that's exactly what's going to happen. And it's like, are you that thick? Like, it's a film.
Yeah, we're not going to turn into friggin' semi-vampires. This is not like like a prediction. Like some people think that the guy who created The Simpsons is like a guy that's gone through time and literally predicted the future with his cartoons. Like, really, he just got lucky, guys. You know, he's made that many episodes. That doesn't make him a fucking time traveler. You know.
Yeah. So if you write so many episodes of different topics, eventually one of them's going to stick. Yeah. So, or a couple in his case. Like he's got a couple things right, but yeah.
Yeah. Again, with Trump and Homer going down the elevator, and literally there's a screenshot, a mini video clip of Trump going down an escalator doing exactly the same hand gestures, and the background actually looks very similar to the episode of the cartoon.
Not
But
an argument here.
oh no, I'm just stating the fact that is quite weird, but that does not make him a time traveler. Like I said, he's pumped out so many episodes. Of course, a lot of things are going to be like very like, oh, that looks familiar.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, I'm not pumping up the. I'm not saying he's a time traveler. There's more to the point. So yeah, and it's crazy to think that there's a lot of people that are in denial about it. I think it's just a lot of people just don't like to be told what to do, and this is an issue. Remember that time, and I can't remember when it happened. It was definitely last year, but when they were like, you know what, we're going to open up the pubs as long as people have some self-control, respect the rules, and we're going to trust you now as as the human race. We're going to trust you and try and, let's see how this goes. And what did people do? They literally went out
This. Yeah.
literally went out like a bunch of toddlers, ran like what was 2 meters. I saw a picture of London, literally people,
Yeah.
some of them not even wearing masks, in hurdles like cattle, and they were all literally bumping next to each other because they were just everywhere. The whole area was flooded with
I
human
remember
people.
being in pubs and it was just stacked, and you're like, "What's the point?"
Some people were just like, it's okay. Okay, other people will listen to the rules, but I'll just go and, just kind of break them so I can get easy service. There are other human beings that are just as stupid as you that are also going to think that. And then when some people see that, they're like, oh, wait, they're breaking the rules and no one's doing anything about it. I'm going to break the rules. It creates a butterfly effect.
Yeah.
When I watched that, I literally looked at that photo and that screenshot, and I think it was on the news as well. But I saw it on Facebook, and I literally was just like, I cannot believe I am a part of this race of morons.
It showed me two things during lockdown. One thing, just how selfish humans really are.
Mm.
Like people that I thought even weren't particularly selfish people have shown themselves to be very, very selfish people during this time, whether it's just no consideration for others' well-being or their attitude to the whole like scenario that's going on at the minute with everything. And then also, it's also shown me other people's compassionate sides and how some people, are just actually really nice people. And shown it's chilled me out and made me more compassionate to other people as well, which I didn't expect to happen. Like I find myself messaging people a lot just to check if they're okay, which I never would have done before. Not in the like because I'm a knob kind of thing. It's just I just wasn't. I don't know. I just feel more inclined to do it now and check that people are because it's a serious thing, and I don't want my friends and family getting it. And you worry for your friends and family's safety, obviously, as well as your own. But people need to look out for each other because otherwise you never know. Like there's a few people I message at least once a week that I know struggle from mental health, anxiety, depression, or whatever they've got. In some cases, both. And a simple you won't even well, you probably would, but some people might not understand what just a simple like, hey, how are you, thinking of you, hoping you're doing okay, just to let you know that there are people thinking of you. A simple message like that could literally save someone's life. Like
It
it's so crazy.
means it means the world to people.
Yeah, I do that at least once a week to like quite a few people, and then we obviously always normally have a chat after that for like a few hours. But something as simple as that, like people don't seem to realize. Like, make sure you do that. If you've got a friend that you know or a family member that you know, to anyone listening to this, that you know struggles with mental health, whatever their issue is, just message them occasionally, because there's a reason that the worst thing you can do to someone in prison is put them in a self-isolation. That's the worst thing they do to you, is put you in a box on your own for like days on end. And that's because it literally drives people insane. We are social creatures, for a reason. We need to see people and speak to people, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what we are. Like, so to not see anybody, especially, imagine if you're like your kind of scenario, you live on your own, you're single, you obviously you've seen your family and stuff occasionally, but some people say like, all say you're more elder, so your parents are no longer with you, and you don't have a partner or any family, so you just live on your own this entire time since March, and you don't work because you've been fired, you was made redundant or whatever. So you've literally seen not a soul for nearly a year. You would be driving yourself insane, especially if you had mental issues on top of that. Like it must be so hard for people with that sort of problem, because I'm finding it difficult, and I didn't even have any of these issues before this. And I was becoming very close to feeling like I was getting some, because it's just becoming a lot for me, let alone people that were already struggling anyway. I can't imagine what it must be like. So really make sure you message people. It's the thing I've got from this, and keep in contact with people, that you care about.
There has been somewhat of a positive thing that I've come up from this. Well, in a general matter, not on a personal matter, but in just a general thing. Because, like I said prior, there are a lot of humans that are just stupid, and I feel sorry for anyone that has to deal with that on a regular basis. However, one thing I did see when I was walking down the shops, and this was probably about 6 months in the original pandemic when it started,
Yeah,
is have you ever seen like one of those like old films where when people when the like neighbors will all close up together and they literally leave their houses and they'll knock on the door of their neighbors and they'll just have a chat.
yeah.
Literally just go lean on the wall or around in their front garden and literally or talk outside their window. I legit saw that so many times during this pandemic, and it looks so natural. It looks so like obviously people would ring people or text or messages like as you do now, but the fact that people got out of their houses, knocked on the door, obviously respecting how far they need to be away from each other, just to have a conversation with their neighbors and just to see them just like talk like regular people. I've never seen that before the pandemic. So the fact that people are doing that just to check up on people or just to have a general natter with their neighbors, it was such a refreshing. You know what I did? I actually smiled, like legit smiled. People, I just walked past like willy nilly, but I did observe it from afar, and I was so. It gave me hope. It actually legitimately gave me hope that there is still a decent amount of people that have humanity in their brains and think other people exist and other people need
There's
help and
there's a
other people can
sense of
talk.
compassion left in people. Yeah.
Mm. And I literally felt so positive after witnessing that for literally a couple of days because, as you stated earlier, there are a lot of people that do suffer from depression. I am actually one of those people. I was diagnosed at quite a young age, um, and even like just a little slight off topic. One thing I always wanted to be when I was little was an actor, a performer of sorts. Um, but I could do that in small doses. But I do actually, funny enough, suffer from performance anxiety, uh, and I do have anxiety in general. I don't let it consume my life, and I don't let it. try to get to me. But sometimes you'll wake up one day and you'll be perfectly fine, and then sometimes you'll wake up even though nothing has happened at all. You have literally just opened your eyes and become aware of the world around you, and you already feel like crying, or you already feel like a panic attack is coming, even though nothing has happened, even though nothing beforehand has happened. That's why it feels like sometimes, in my experience anyway, how this feels when you have the combination of that coming at you. And yeah, the pandemic hasn't helped. I mean, like when it comes to the isolation part, I live alone, as you stated, and I've had to deal with the same four walls a majority of my time, waking up in the same room over and over and over again. I mean, this is why I feel like some people are lucky that they live in places where they can actually go into a different room, have a different, like, oh, look, this wall's different. Oh,
Yeah,
look, there's a painting here. Oh, look, there's a window, like, looking out at a different part of the scenery. People don't understand how lucky they are until they realize other people's conditions of how they need to live and financial stuff. And obviously, when you mix that with a global catastrophe that this is, it gives you a perspective of how, like, what you need to do to keep yourself sane. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that can't take this anymore. Like, like the whole, like, I don't know, I don't really want to use the word, but suicide rates have gone up like freaking crazy. And like, and a lot of people have had injuries or deaths not related to COVID, but it's because of the isolation
yeah,
these
it's not
deaths
surprising.
has occurred.
Like, it's totally, you can see why, because like you said, people really struggle being on their own. And even I admittedly totally forgot that you are just in one room, which must be even more difficult. Um, but that is, it's just crazy, isn't it? Like the whole, and this is kind of the problem, like never knowing. I personally can't see a light at the end of the tunnel of this, because even though we've got this vaccine, even though they're saying the R rating's going down, I don't personally not care, but um, I don't know how you'd word it, but don't believe necessarily what they're saying about the R rating. Like, I don't pay too much attention to it because they always flip flop between it's high, it's low, it's high. It's like, like what they're saying on the news, they could be twisting anyway. So
Yeah,
I until literally they've come out and said, "Oh, it's over," I'm not going to be like, "Yay!" Do you know what I mean? Just because we dropped one R rating, because we dropped down to like three or whatever, and then we shot back up to five. So like, it's it's neither here or there, but like, um, I
I'm
was
in the same boat. I'm in the same boat as you when it comes to that. By the
yeah,
way,
and it's like I got to a point with seeing it on the news where I was just sick of looking at it. So there was like a solid month where I just didn't look at anything of it because I just couldn't be bothered. Like, it's just so depressing to constantly see. Um, and it's just like I'd like to have, like, if they even if they gave us just one thing, they were like, oh, by December this date we'll be able to go back outside like normal. If they had a date, I know that's asking a huge amount from them because obviously they are struggling to do this themselves, and it's massive like medical um, excellence that they've managed to come up with a vaccine this bloody quick. Even though some people are then judging the fact that they've come up with a vaccine this quick and they haven't for other viruses. It's like, but also again going off my top point a little bit here, but why are people moaning at the fact that they've come up with a life-saving vaccine this quick rather than fixing the common cold when people aren't, yes, people are dying from it a lot, but this isn't the thing that's stopping people from going out and seeing their families and going to work properly and socializing and getting on with life. This current problem that we have, that the things that you're not, the other viruses that you're moaning about, this one currently is what's stopping life from working properly. Like, this is the reason everybody's in the situation that they're in. So of course they're going to put all of their effort into doing this as quickly as possible. It just makes sense logically, but people can't seem to think that because yet again people feel the need to moan about stuff rather than to just congratulating them for coming up with a vaccine so bloody quickly. I mean, it's super. It takes years for a vaccine. They did it within under a year. Like, that's insane. Like, to get all
I
the other
mean
vaccines.
they're still looking for a cure for the big C as well at this point. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, it's. well, I have another opinion on that, but that's a different thing. But the fact that they've come up with a vaccine this quickly and they've tested it and it's like 99% positive test rate, whatever it is. Probably, I'm not too sure on the figures on that, but I know it's pretty damn high. Already is insane. Like, and they obviously have tested it for solid months, and they've become with it this quickly, and it's like I don't see why people are still having issue with it. It's like I get it. It's really, really disheartening to not know when this is going to end. I feel exactly the same. But it's you've got to look at the little positives throughout, what's happened. But I get that it's difficult at the same time.
It's gone to a point. It's gone to a point where I think a lot of people have become so, yes, well, sick and tired of it, obviously, but it's droned into their heads. I mean, the fact that when I go and see my family, which I have done during this pandemic, but obviously we're not being stupid about it. We premeditate, we make sure that we are away from each other. For example, I was going to see my grandmother today, and she's done she's got her own routine how to make sure she doesn't get this and things like that because like my mom, my grandmother have been very careful. They live in how my mom works. She wouldn't get it anyway due to the fact of like she lives at home, so she doesn't. Well, she works at home, sorry. So she's more in her safe bubble, and we always like make sure that we check ourselves to make sure that we don't have it. And the fact is that we are not stupid. But I can't do that now because one of my roommates, or it's basically how it works in my house is there's 3 floors, 3 people live on the bottom, 3 people live on the first floor, and the top floor there's only one person that lives up there. But the person on the ground floor, one of them, because he doesn't like hospitals, right? Since he doesn't like hospitals, he jeopardized all of our lives just because he didn't want to be there, and he said that he lives by himself just to go back home and did not give a shit about the 6 other people that live in the same building as him.
That's such a selfish mindset, isn't it? Like, it's a perfect example of how selfish people have been throughout this whole thing.
So the fact is that the landlords caught wind of that, and they literally said, no, there's other people here, what are you doing? Other people had to tell the hospital to keep him there, but I don't know if he's come back in or come back out. So the fact is that he could have actually had this, spread this about, and then went to the hospital.
And you wouldn't even have known, which is appalling, really, that he's allowed that to continue. That's crazy. It's good that they've caught it, I guess, because he could have give it to all of you, and then you could have gone and seen your nan or anybody and give it to them, and then you'd have felt awful if she passed away from it, and then you didn't even know why, and then you found out it's because she got it from you, and you're like, imagine it, like, oh my god, like I can't even imagine that. What a selfish person. I don't. Yeah. I've become so much more compassionate for people, and during this whole thing, and it's not a massive ask to just wear a sodding mask to go to the shops. It's not the end of your life to wash your hands when you go to the shops. When you go into if you go into a new shop, nearly everything's got. Well, they should. Nearly every shop should have hand sanitizers at the door. I mean, you should carry it with you anyway, but it's not a massive ask just to squirt a bit of soap on your hand, rub it in. It dries anyway pretty quick. Put a mask on. Really isn't the end of the world, especially if you get like a nice soft mask that you can get. And then that's it. Like, it's really not a problem. I leave the mask in my car. I have a mask in the kitchen, so in case I walk anywhere. And I had dentistry gloves for a little while, the ones you wear in hospitals, like, just because it's just cleaner. But
I reckon we should make a T-shirt slogan going, "It's not a hard ask. Wear a bloody mask." Like that. Imagine that on a shirt.
Write that down. That's a good idea.
Copyright, yeah.
But, But yeah, but some people are just making it like it's the end of the bloody world. It's like, can you not just be a dick for 2 days? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't get why it's such. Some people just really make it such a big deal when it needs to be. Like, do they
Yeah.
think that we're all jolly and happy about having to go and wear masks and everything else? No, no one obviously isn't. But then at the same time, it's not like you've got to sleep in the pissing thing. Do you know what I mean? Just put it on when you go to a shop. That's it. The people just feel the need to be. No, I'm not going to do it because it's my rights and all the rest of it. So if they take our rights away, we're never going to get our rights back. And it's like, do you want this
Oh,
thing
one
to
of
ever
my
go away
favorite
ever?
people.
Like, because if you want to be like Australia, where they're completely COVID free, you're going to have to let them do some restrictions because that's, otherwise we're not going to get anywhere. Christmas is a perfect
Yeah.
example of that. The one time they gave any of us like some sort of leeway, people took the piss with it, and now we're back in square one again. Um,
Yeah.
it's just
It
ridiculous.
it's ridiculous in the sense as well where
Yeah, Mike.
one of the stupidest things I've heard is when people wear a mask and like you see they've covered their mouths but not their noses,
Mike,
and they
Mike's
think
gone a
that,
bit quiet, mate.
huh?
Your mic's gone a bit quiet.
Has it gone quiet?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Carry on talking while I fix this.
Okay. Apologies about Mike's mic. It's gone a bit quiet on my end. I don't know if I'm recording it's quiet as well. Um, I talk about a different aspect of it. I talk about how it's affected streaming, I guess. One of the things we do over my Discord and Mike's Discord
Mm-hmm.
is like community events that I think have really helped a lot of people during being stuck at home. I've had a few people message me saying that because they've having to work from home, so obviously they're spending all the time working at home, and then on the night they're at home still, they've really enjoyed having streaming around for people to watch. Because obviously, if you just watch telly, you're just watching telly like you normally would anyway. But streaming is a bit more interactive, so you get to talk to someone you don't know necessarily, and then make new friends. And a lot of people said that that's been a brilliant way that they've helped cope with it. Like last couple of days, I've had so many messages about people saying like, "Oh, it's really nice having like a Discord and stream that I can join and just chat to people." Because when people aren't live necessarily, or there aren't people around in the Discord, sometimes it gets a bit lonely. Like because I can't go anywhere, I'm stuck inside, and it's like no wonder. Like the Zoom, the app Zoom, or the Skype Zoom app, has a like record-breaking usages go up within the lockdown. People are just constantly using Zoom, obviously, because they can't see people.
Not bad, by the way.
And you're still really quiet for me. I don't know why.
Continue.
And so this is really important, I think, to make sure. I personally am trying to make sure that we keep those sort of community building things going with people and streaming. So the Discord links will be in the description for both of our Discords. If people are one of the type of people that like being in streams and listening to streams and joining in community games and stuff like that, to get you. Because if you're someone that is living on their own or is just sick of watching telly and would like to have someone to talk to, just have a good chat, feel free to come and join us and have a chat with that. I will actually just mention one, Mike saw his mic out. All of the links will be in the description, by the way, for all of our social links.
Is that bad now?
You're still really quiet. I don't know why.
I've literally done nothing to change the thing, dude. I've not done anything to change the thingy-majig, so I don't think it's gonna mess up the recording now.
You just carry on. I'm gonna let you talk for a bit while I try to see if it's my end.
Okay. So basically, as simply stated, it is been quite and I said this on one of my YouTube videos that thanks to the fact that people are staying indoors and things like that, I have gotten to know people that have unfortunately been staying at home as well. But it's given me a great appreciation in terms of other people all over the world. Like I have friends from America and friends from Europe and among other places that I've gotten closer with now because they spend their times. They don't want to watch telly anymore. They don't want to watch the news. They just want to escape, and which is perfectly justifiable. And I've met, and since me both Simply and myself are streamers, the fact that I have gotten to know people on such a deeper level, I have appreciated 100%. And like I've made new friends out of this, and uh, the fact that I'm interacting and the fact that I'm helping in a sense, because that's how it feels like. This is one of the things that I love about streaming is I've helped so many people, um, and it's great. I feel so justified that I've gone to a person, they were sad, and I've made them happy. In black and white, that's it's just the premise. Like I've helped people out with their own issues. The fact that they've told me thank you so much, and like especially with Twitch as well, when you raid a person or you shout someone out, or the fact that they're playing a game that they enjoy, but they just like the fact that the element of your twist for that specific game. Um, has really brightened up their day. And it's great to know that people are so like interactive. Even the people that are loners have started to like branch out and stuff and become part of communities. And I think that's the best thing about our discords, for example. Our discords, even though they're two separate things, they're entwined together in terms of a community. And I've met people from Simply's Discord, and he's met some of mine. And it's great to get to know new people and expand and bring other people in here because I know it's been so difficult for so many people, and it can sometimes you will feel discouraged to the point where you're just like, I don't even want to do anything. I just want to watch something, Just want to listen to something, Which kind of gave us the inspiration to do podcasts to begin with, in a sense. We have legitimately adapted around this horrible thing that's happening to the world right now, and we've helped people. We've helped people get through it by just being ourselves, by being a bunch of wacky ass characters on the internet, and it's nice that we've even encouraged people to do the same. I mean, there's so many people that have gone into streaming because they've enjoyed my streaming. I want to take a crack at it. And yeah, there's a lot of people now that do that, and they have their own ways of doing their streams. And I think that's the one thing that people need to remember is if you're going to stream, just remember that you are live in front of multiple people, and what defines you for who you are, what your character is going to be put on screen. So just a little bit of advice. If you're going to plan on streaming, you got to make sure that you're entertaining, not just sitting there with a camera dribbling, because no one ain't got time for that. So
By
yeah.
the way, I can hear you again fine now. I don't know what happened, but you went really quiet, but you're fine. But one of the things I wanted to say, especially over the last 2 days, from your streams as well in particular, but this has happened on other people's streams as well, that I've really enjoyed is just being able to laugh again, because
Yes.
I have not laughed so hard than I have in the last 2 days for nearly a year, just before COVID, because and I clearly needed it, and that's what's really I really enjoy about the side of streaming and building a community around Discord and everything else. And our podcasts, like you said, we started this during the whole lockdown thing because we felt that we'd like to get our opinions out on things, and maybe it could help someone, because some people necessarily can't even. Some people listen to podcasts to sleep, just to have someone to there to talk to. Especially if I live on their own, and it helps some people. I personally listen to podcasts to go to sleep. It helps me sleep. And just being able to give someone some joy, and seeing people saying to you that they had such a nice time and they were laughing so much, and it's really nice to know that even if you've given someone like 5 minutes of laughter, in this shit time that is COVID and lockdown is such a nice feeling. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to start streaming, because I felt like giving it up recently because everything had become quite a bit too much for me. Um, and then after taking a break and reassessing the reasons why I did it in the first place, it wasn't for, and this is also another tip for people, if you're getting into streaming for money, for fame, for clout, or whatever you want to call it, right? You're doing it for the wrong reasons, and it really isn't for everybody. Some people just aren't meant to be streamers or content creators if you do like YouTube and stuff. You do it for the simple fact of you enjoy a particular element about it, whether that being learning how to edit, or you're just generally good editor anyway, or being quite a good public speaker, or someone that likes building communities, or whatever your talent is to do with it that you can demonstrate via like one of the platforms, of which there's many, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Rest in peace, Mixer. But there's so many
D Live.
so many reasons that I looked at myself and I thought, well, I initially got into this because I wanted a new way of meeting new people, because obviously the internet is so much easier to meet new people now, and I wanted a different way of it. I was just getting bored of just playing games all the time. To be honest, I wanted different outlets because you used to have so many hobbies. So, and it became more than a hobby about 6 months ago. So and then I started taking it a bit more seriously, and then you build a Discord around it, and then it kind of just snowballs from there. And then you take on the responsibility of owning a Discord, which I've done a couple of times, and there's so many things that come with that, both positive and negative. So it's a lot, and people don't seem to realize that about Twitch streaming and Discord and having a YouTube channel and everything else. If you're taking it seriously, it's a lot of effort. Like, it isn't just turning on a game and you recording a game. There's a lot that goes into it. Most of the work is offline as well. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
even if it's something, because going back to what Mike said a little while ago in this, where he says some days you just wake up and you're not necessarily in the mood. Like, I've woken up sometimes and I'm just annoyed for no reason. Like, people just wake up, it's a chemical thing, isn't it? Sometimes you just wake up and you're in a mood, or you're just not, or you feel a bit down today, or whatever your feeling is, and you're not in the mood to stream, but you've got a schedule, or you've scheduled to put out some certain particular content, or whatever the reason, whatever you're going to do that day. And you've got to then go onto camera and be bubbly and chatty and make people laugh, and be more than yourself, an extra and stuff. And even though I wouldn't say like, have like a fake persona of yourself, because I personally don't believe that how I am on camera is who I am. And there are people that do that, and that's fine for them. But I personally like to be how I am all the time, because that's just who I am. I'm quite upfront, how I come across. And some people aren't okay with that, and that's entirely their opinion. But it's difficult, and people need to realize this, because this is why so many people just start it. There's been a lot of these. There was a hashtag going around for quite a while called hashtag lockdown streamers, because people just did it because they had nothing else to do, and they just thought, oh, he's doing that. They've seen someone with a couple of hundred followers, and they thought, oh, well, he's doing it. It must be really easy, and they don't see what goes into it to get to that point.
There's a harsh reality when it comes to streaming. It's not as simple as turning on the record button and then like, ta-da, there's so many factors involved. And a lot of people don't realize this, because due to the fact, like, as I said prior, it's great that you inspire people to stream. It's great that some people are like, oh, this guy's like, Mr. O is...
Yeah, when you
yeah. And it's great. However, that is when the realization comes into going, oh, so how am I going to stream? Because, Mr. O is Mr. O, simply is simply, other people are other people. How can I branch myself out there of my individuality? And it's like, and your character, your persona, the person that defines you. And that sometimes is hard to put on a camera.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that until it happens. I've seen so many people that stream, and no offense to any of these people, like, I'm not going to name them because obviously it'd be harsh, but I have seen some people stream, or a friend of mine that suggested a streamer to me, and I check them out, and I literally cannot watch it. Not because whatever they're playing is bad, because I could watch a Fortnite stream, even though I don't like Fortnite, and bear watching it because of that person. The streamer himself, the entertainer, is appealing enough and intriguing enough to take my attention, even though I will probably only watch for like 3 minutes. But there are some people that literally do nothing, and I mean nothing, but stand there, don't talk, say something every now and again, and they expect to have an a core audience or someone to watch them. There is nothing more boring than watching someone that looks like they're about to go into a literally like just play something, and just because they can stream it. It's like you're missing the point of streaming there. And like you said, the whole lockdown thing has created a whole bunch of these people, and some of them are great. It's like some people that have started streaming. Fair enough. I'll give them any time of day. Like for example, shall we do little mini shout outs? Should we do little mini shout
Yeah,
outs,
yeah, I
Adam?
suppose.
Little mini shout outs. Well, my moderator Diana, crazy mum, they stream and they are so entertaining to watch because Donna does Dead by Daylight. Crazy Mom also does Dead by Daylight and horror. And Sammy, my friend Sammy, has started streaming as well. She's done like a couple of horror things, and they're entertaining to watch. They're intriguing, and they're so much fun to watch. There's other people I enjoy watching as well, like Catch My Horizon. I'm trying to think of other people quickly. Obviously yourself. Uh, and like even like Jazzy and Jess as well. Like you have to have a personality that screams, "Come and watch me." Hey, I like this person. They. You need an aura,
You need to be
basically.
enticing, don't you, and have an interest to your
Yeah,
personality, not just sit at a screen, staring at a screen, not even looking at, not even directly at the camera. There are so many people. Again, a bit of a going off a little bit, but there is so many people that just think, I stick on Call of Duty and put the cam to the side of my face and just look at the Call of Duty game that I'm doing, that I'm going to get ninja worth of views and money. And so that's just the harsh reality, is it? Yes, like 10 years ago, you probably would have, but because so many thousands of people do it, especially recently during lockdown, Jesus Christ, so many people do it now. It's so much more
mm,
harder to be a Twitch streamer than when I first started doing it. Which isn't even that long ago. But compared to now, it's so much more difficult. Um, like if you actually just typed in like Call of Duty and looked at how many people are struggling to get even one view, like it's so difficult. And
mm,
because of Twitch's algorithm as well, the way the lack of an algorithm really, um, you need to do more than just sit there playing a game. Like it's not going to get you anywhere. Bit of friendly advice, like
exactly.
Mike said, you have to have something to your channel and stream that makes it different from everybody else. Regardless, it might be um, that you're a larger than life personality. It might be that you're very creative with edits or layouts or whatever you've done. But you've got to have that thing that makes people want to stick around and watch. And this is why I personally am very much against raids a lot of the time, because I will only raid someone if it's very close to, or either the same thing that I'm playing, or very close, like the same type of game that I'm playing, because it makes sense. Because a lot of people don't seem to realize this. I don't know if you do with raids, that most people don't stick around when they raid. They'll raid someone, they'll say hi, and then they'll leave. Um,
Yeah,
because they're just doing it to be nice, which is lovely of them, because they don't have to raid. But at the same time, it's kind of pointless, because you're going from, for example, you'll go from someone playing a puzzle game to going to someone to play a horror game. Like there's two different contrasts. They are not there to watch a horror game. They were there to watch the puzzle game. So you taking them along to a different audience. Yes, they may like horror, but that's not what they were there for at the current time. They were there for that particular streamer. So unless the other person is so good at public speaking, or they're such an interesting, fascinating person, they can instantly grab people's attention and keep them there. They're just going to leave. And this is why raiding a lot of the time doesn't actually help. If anything, it's damaging a lot of the time, because it gives people false hope. Because if you get raided for a massive amount, say someone raided you for like 200 people and you was on two people beforehand, you're going to be so buzzed. then guess what's going to happen within 10 seconds? They're going to leave because you're just another Call of Duty stream or whatever, just sat side staring at a screen with no personality. They're going to leave, and then you're going to be more depressed than if they hadn't raided you.
Yeah,
And this is
exactly.
what happens a lot of the time, which is why I choose to only raid people that are who I know who are either very similar to the game, whatever the topic I'm doing at the current time. Because sometimes I do like just chatting streams or whatever. If there's someone's doing something similar to what I'm doing, or if I know the person is engaging enough that if I raid them, even if it's a different game or whatever, or different topic, that I know they're going to be able to hold an audience and it actually benefit them. Because if I think it's going to do them harm, I won't bother. Um,
Yeah, I do agree with to some extent on that. I mean, like for example, if I saw Nathan, who I collab with on Saturdays, with the Borderlands franchise, he's one of the probably one of the most entertaining people I could watch. I literally love watching him stream due to the fact that his personality is he's got a very calm demeanor, but sometimes there's a little bit of like there's something humorous about him when he responds to an agitated situation where he's getting pissed off, but he comes off with this calm, it's like, you know what, that's fine, it's okay. And I would literally raid him to death, because not because he's my friend and not because I collab with him, is because he literally said to me he's going to refuse streaming popular trendy games because one, the fact is he doesn't like them, and two, to the fact that he wants to be that guy that plays, like, he played Bee Simulator.
I know it's good.
I didn't even know there was Bee
Never did
Simulator,
I.
dude. Like it was so engaging, and it was just like, this I'm playing as a bee, man. I'm eco-friendly,
By,
like,
by
and
the
it was
way,
so engaging.
by the way, his name's Abandoned Poet, I think, isn't it, on Twitch? Just if people are wondering.
Yeah, Abandoned Poet. Okay, my boy, my other boy, because Simply's my boy.
Your boy.
I'm gonna, yeah, boy. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Um, but yeah, and like basically, I could watch him, and the same with Simply when you've been starting doing Stildar Valley. What's it called? Stildar Valley.
Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, which is basically like 2D Minecraft in a sense. Um, I was watching that because the music's great. I like the system of how it goes, but your interaction, since you're playing it blind, it gives us we are just as much on the ride with you as much as you, even though you have the controller, and it's so engaging. Like even when sometimes you're doing grinds or doing some repetitive stuff, it's still engaging because you're excited, and when you're excited, we're excited. And when you're talking in a conversation whilst you're doing this, whilst you're trying to figure out the mechanics of the game, it is great. And one thing I would say about raiding, if I was going to pick, sometimes I have literally looked up and I've seen people that I could raid, but I decide not to. Not because I don't want to. It's just the fact is, as you said prior, the audience I'm watching right now would not be interested in them regardless. Like, and it's not only that, I know for a fact if I saw like someone that was streaming like a sports game, I would not raid them, even though they're my friend or a fellow streamer. I wouldn't do it because it just bore the shit out of them. And I know, but my audience aren't into that. But like for example, the one thing I will say about, and this literally happened yesterday. Yeah, it happened literally yesterday. I raided a friend of mine called Chainblink, who is trying to be a streamer. He has streamed I think he has streamed for a long period of time, but he hasn't had that much luck in terms of the viewership, even though he has a dedicated fan base by the looks of it. And I raided him after Minecraft, and it was Dead by Daylight, and a lot of people that I know that watch my stuff enjoy Dead by Daylight as well. And I know he's a good nurse main, so I sent all 16 people through this raid. He only had 2 or 3 viewers at the time, I believe. And he was just chilling and stuff, like he was waiting for a game, minding his own business. Next thing you know, 16 people I raided him for 16 people, and it shot up to 19. He literally lost his shit. He literally went absolute like, "Oh my god, this is my first ever raid! Oh my god, Mr. Opinionated, thank you!" And I was like, "Oh, I've made someone's day." That raid, by the way, got him affiliate as well.
Yeah, I've had that a couple of times. It's nice feeling, isn't it, to help someone out like that?
And he literally he was so grateful. And I think I watched for about half an hour as well after, because I wanted to see, because he's, like I said, he's a good nurse player, because I've been up against him a couple of times. He even messaged me the day after, literally in capitals, "Thank you so much. Thanks to you, I've made affiliate. Thank you so much." Because he was originally on 36 followers, and it jumped all the way up to 49, I think. So yeah, that made a massive impact on him. And then I'm assuming he got the other followers later on. So it was just great to help someone out. And I didn't do it for like the fact, well, it's nice to help out anyone, but because we know how difficult it is to stream, and sometimes the more popular you get, there are certain strains that smaller channels don't feel until they get to our level of follows and obviously a core audience.
Yeah.
So so I I was just so glad that I helped him out, and the fact that he was so grateful, he messaged me, and I told him no worries. But the fact that I helped someone out to that degree was great. But as you stated, I wouldn't just do that for everyone, because, like, yeah, it's so, some people's streams are just not for everyone. I would never like raid someone on a Call of Duty game,
Plus,
like
like you said, you knew
yeah,
that
like
you knew
Warzone.
your audience liked Stevie D anyway, so you knew if they joined, they would already have an interest in what he was doing, so it made sense. So it would only be a positive to him. Whereas, like you said, if you had raided someone playing FIFA, for instance, they wouldn't be as interested because that's not what they were there for. So again, it would be only harming to the person that you raided. So
Yeah,
you already thought about that before you did it, which is why it made sense. Um,
yeah.
which is kind of the point I made earlier. But yeah,
I just elongated it.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, but it's great. It's great to know that since this pandemic has happened, and we have spent more time with our streams as well. And I've only recently made a schedule, because I'm very random. I'm not very what you call a routine. Keep a the same information on any, like,
it goes with the
yeah,
flow.
like I can't keep a schedule to save my life, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So the fact that I've made one now makes me happy that I'm trying to be a little bit more professional, arguably, you could say. But at the same time, I'm just like, I'm just doing my thing, you know? And it's great
Yeah,
that other people are doing their things as well, and seeing other people now going on the bandwagon of like, yeah, I'm gonna stream too, and I'm gonna, help out my in my own little way, and help people in isolation. And it's great to see this almost like universal holding hands kind of gesture, like we're all here together, we're all helping out in some form of way, try to get people through the day, and really just trying, you know. And then and again, you could also have the polar opposite of, how we were talking about the selfish people during the pandemic. Uh, you also get like
yeah,
that in streaming as well. People not understand,
yeah,
like
massively.
people don't understand what other people go through, because even though that we're streamers, we're still human. We're not like entertainers here, monkey boy. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. We are human. Someone gives me shit during my stream, I will retaliate, like, to some form of degree. Like, have you had, like, for example, people fake donation you, like, like you'll get a random person you've never seen before, and they're going donation $50, and it's just like, I know how the donations work in Twitch, mate. And then he had the audacity to say to me, "Oh, are you not gonna thank me?" And I was like, "What, for a fictional donation?" Yeah, thanks for the fictional donation, mate. I'll put that in my imaginary box so I can, use it when I go off into the fictional store. And he was like, "Well, fuck you then." Like, it was like, I'm sorry, just because you was trying to trick me and now you're getting offended. It's like, what? All right. Jesus Christ, go back to your mum's basement.
But I've been in other people's streams where that has happened. Yeah.
So you've not personally experienced it just yet?
Not in my own streams, no, but I've been in a few people's where it has happened to
You're
them.
gonna have
Yeah,
to let me
I've
know
seen
when
it
that
happen.
happens to you, so I could be like, "Ah, your cherry's been popped."
I might just overplay it like crazy, like get really hyped
Yeah.
for no reason, and then I'll just keep asking them, like, let's all thank him.
Thanks, guy.
New characters.
Like hashtag love fiction and fictional money.
Yeah. Hashtag Monopoly money. Let's go.
Don't go past go now. You might get too handsy with that imaginary $200. Don't spend it wisely. But yeah, you'll get like that. A lot of people don't realize, especially on Twitch, where there are some people that just don't understand certain things. A lot of people will literally go, and it happens on YouTube as well. Some people will just go, "Can I join?" First off, rude. Say hi first. It's not hard. Manners don't cost a thing. And then you got other people that just put in links of other people's streamers, or they'll ask you, "Oh, I'm gonna ask you to do a challenge for me," and I'm just like, "Excuse me," like, like, yeah, like.
No.
And then when you say, and when you go, "Oh, no, thanks, mate. Welcome to the stream, regardless, but I'm not doing any challenge that you asked me to." And then they still continue talking like a robot, like they haven't listened to what you said. Like it's like one of those, like when you ring a company up, like I don't know, like Virgin Media,
Not like an automated
yeah, and
annoying
it's just
phone
like,
call. Yeah.
and they have to go off a script. It's kind of like that.
Please press 2 to continue. You're on hold. There are 3 people in front of you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Your streamer will be with you in 20
Please
minutes.
hold while your highlighted message gets through the channel.
Your call is important to us.
It is pretty much like that, and I can't wait. Like I know it's like a bit of a harsh. I can't wait till like the people that have started streaming go through that and then they learn, because we have to learn. But I think that since the one thing that me and Simply have in common is we built ours from the ground up. Legitimately started from the ground up. People that get inspired already have somewhat of an existing backing, because obviously they follow you, they get to know your audience, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to start streaming now." So a lot of people are just kind enough to, give them the support. But when they need to make it out on their own, they realize that it's not that easy. Yeah.
Yeah, as you've probably experienced yourself, I experienced a lot of piss taking when I first said I was doing Twitch, and people only start being nice to you about it when they see that you're being successful with something, because it's people like to do that, don't they? If they see someone if someone's doing something, but and this doesn't just apply to Twitch streaming, it could be whatever, right? Going for a crazy job that people think you can't do, whatever, learning a new hobby, whatever it is. People think if they see you doing something that they personally haven't got the courage to do themselves because it appears very difficult to do, or a very slim chance of it being successful, they will bash you and bash you and bash you, hoping that you'll give up so they can then be in the same boat as you, and then they have someone to also say, "Oh, well, this person also isn't doing it, so that's why I'm not doing it," as to kind of make themselves feel better. But when you don't listen and then you do it, regardless of them taking the piss, and then you actually start getting successful with it, they all of a
Oh
sudden want to
God, yeah.
jump on the boat, and it's kind of hilarious. And then when you're still doing better and they've jumped on the boat, and then you're still doing better than them because obviously you're the one that started it yourself, and then you've carried on. You've just chugged along as you normally was, and you're progressing because you learn as you go. Because in particular, like streaming, for example, is a marathon, not a sprint. Same with YouTube and anything that requires a long amount of time put into it, or learning a particular skill. It takes a while to learn these things. These are skills that you are learning, whether it be editing or public speaking or whatever. Those people get annoyed because they're not at the same level as you, but they don't seem to understand that you was there before them and you had all the hard stuff. They've just kind of jumped on for the ride and they've skipped the hard part. That's why they haven't learned the rest of it, and that's why you're at a different level. Which is kind of what you said about it's good that they should experience doing stuff from the ground up. So, and people have a lot of people that join, like for instance, if you join a massive Discord that's really, really popular, everyone's really friendly in there, and then you do your first stream or whatever, or your first YouTube video, whatever it is, and you get loads of people join your first stream because it's your first stream, everyone's like wants to help out, and then the second stream no one shows up. They get angry then, and it's like, well, they're not actually your audience, they're just there to be friendly. They're not people feel like people owe them something a lot of the time, and it's like I've always took this perspective of streaming when I started taking it more seriously anyway. If I'm having a bad stream, because people do, you can't always get amazing numbers. You will have the odd bad stream because whether people are busy or whatever, or the game that you're playing or whatever you're doing just isn't down to someone's cup of tea, because obviously everybody doesn't like all the same stuff. I always take away, look back on what I've done and say, well, why are people not interested? Why did they leave? Why didn't they want to stick around? What was I doing that wasn't interesting enough? And then try and change it, which is what I kind of did with the week off that I took. I tried to look at my content, think, well, what did I do that I could have done better? Was I not approachable enough? Was I not interesting enough? Was I not engaging enough? Was whatever the reason was, right? But people don't like to self-analyze. People don't like to have, a lot of people can't take criticism and then like take it in a positive way. They just get insulted and then they don't progress themselves as a person. And this goes for in general in life, a lot of people. And I'm very much for the opinion of, and I know this doesn't really have anything to do with isolation, but
subgenre, it's
subgenre. Yeah, we do this a lot. Anyway, you should be used to it by now. If you've got 4 episodes, you should be used to it by now. This, and to be fair, this in a way it does, because this is kind of this feeling of the way I want to come across to people has only increased during lockdown. I feel like this is very strong. I feel like even more of a necessary need to be true to myself and how I am as a person, because you could die tomorrow of COVID, and then you've just lived a lie of not how you are as a person. So I think it's very important to be 100% of who you are. I saw a comment in your stream, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I forget. Someone said, well, you can't always be 100% of yourself. And I even said, well, why is that? I don't understand that, because personally, I don't mean to be a horrible person to people. I try to be as friendly to anybody, until they're horrible to me. But the minute someone does something out of order for no reason, I'm going to take issue with it, and I'm going to tell you that I've got a problem with it. I'm not going to pretend that I don't, and like say things behind people's backs. And I'm going to be upfront about it. And a lot of people can't handle you being upfront with them. And you know what? That's on them. That's not the person I am. That's not the person I was raised to be. I was raised to not take shit off someone and to be open and honest with who I am. My heart on my sleeve. And that's just the person I am. And if people have a problem with that, that's on them, quite frankly. And I'm the most, warming, most accepting person. I will sit and listen to someone about the most private stuff and try to be offering and be there for people generally, and as much as I can be, and be generally quite a friendly person. And I'm normally quite a chilled out guy, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be walked all over. Do you know what I mean? And people don't seem to realise that, because you go through life being such a nice person and being helpful with advice, whatever the situation may be, or like you said, they see one particular version of you on streaming, because you obviously can't be, you wouldn't tell people about your personal life on streaming, because that's not what they're there for. They're there to watch you do whatever you're doing, whether gaming or whatever. So they can't get a full spectrum of your personality on streaming, because you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't like give them your home address, for instance. There's some things you keep private. So when they do have an issue with you, for instance, like whether over Discord or they say something in your chat or the private message or whatever, or just in person in general, if you get to know the person in real life and then they take a problem with you because you're not going to take crap off them. But they're like, well, then they see you as this chilled out person all the time because that's just generally who you are. Just because you're a nice person doesn't mean you have
Exactly.
to take shit off people. It's kind of what I'm trying to get to the point. And people have a problem with people like that being up front, and I don't really care. And I've become more and more like that because, and it's just actually tying to the whole COVID mask wearing thing because I've become more and more agitated with people refusing to wear masks and all this other stuff. When I personally know people that this has affected, and I know people that have had family members that have died from COVID and stuff, and that correlates to people not wearing stuff and doing the proper restrictions they should do. And people have a problem when like around about like June last year, someone said to me in one of our discords, she's not there anymore, but she would go on a bus and not wear a mask. And I said, well, why? Do you have a reason? Because obviously I know people with like asthma and stuff and have a reason, medical reason why they can't wear it. Whatever your medical reason is, I don't have a problem with that. Just to clarify, but her reason was, well, why should I wear it? I'm not going to get it. It doesn't affect me. And I went ballistic because I'd already known people at that point that had died from it. Like I'd known people that have known people, like some of my friends, family members, for instance, had died from COVID. Like there's, and it's such a selfish mindset. I don't see why people would do that. Like it doesn't harm you just to follow the
Yeah,
bloody rules. Do you know
exactly.
what I mean? um, that might put people come across as people as the wrong way, and me being that direct, but if you ever want to get out of this COVID situation and out of isolation and get back to normal life, we're going to have to listen to what the government is saying because at the end of the day, they are the ones that are in charge of this, regardless if you like it or not. That's just the situation that we're in. So wear your mask, wash your hands, and get the vaccine and stop moaning about it.
And on that note, disclaimer. Remember what we said at the beginning of this podcast. Just remember, we warned you.
Again,
Yeah,
my
but I
opinion,
think
yeah,
that's
but
one of the things in a general perspective. The two things that can actually have in common with this, with the whole streaming and the pandemic monarchy, is people don't listen sometimes, and it's like,
yeah,
like you said, some people, there is a thin line between being honest and being an asshole or being mean, and sometimes two
being
people
rude.
can't
Yeah.
see the difference between honesty and mean. Like for example, one of the streamers that I know, which I'm not going to name, but I said to them, I said, mate, I'll support you. Don't get me wrong, but I can't really watch your streams due to the fact that one, you don't talk. You only talk when there's a response. And one of the key things about being a streamer is you gotta keep on talking even though there's no one there to talk to. One of the greatest assets of what a streamer needs to do, especially one that's starting, is to the reality that some people won't be there. The fact is that you need to somewhat be engaged. You literally need to talk to yourself in some aspects.
You need to just cut in there. You need to talk to someone. You need to talk to no one as if
Yeah,
there's 1,000 people
100%.
there all the time.
So just because no
Yeah.
one's there, that doesn't mean that you don't talk, because literally, even if people are talking, there's literally lack of silence, lack of like you checking your chat. And I know it's a bug. I know it's a major pain in the ass to like check your chat sometimes. Um, because new person, no stream elements. Oh, new person, no same person that's been talking for the last 20 minutes. Oh, something? No, you just read that wrong. Okay, we've all been there. I mean, it's
Oh, I reread the same message like 6 times. I feel like an idiot. But
oh,
yeah,
someone's gambled. Oh, someone's gambled. Oh, someone's gambled. Why do you have this addiction? Like, um,
go get
yeah.
a scratch card. Leave me
By
alone.
this time, you will win the fucking lottery. So yeah, a lot of people need to understand that you're gonna get criticism. You're gonna get constructive. There is a difference between constructive criticism and criticism, and like flat out like
Yeah,
your stream shit. And at the end of the day, a lot of people and this person understood. Has he done it? He kind of has, kind of hasn't. I think he's still in that element of like goes on autopilot, which is fine. They'll learn in their own discretion. They'll learn on their own time. But at least, I mean, I would consider myself a bit of an ass if I didn't go over and put my own 2 cents on it, considering the fact I've been streaming on YouTube and Twitch. And I've been longer on YouTube, but now I've moved more primarily to Twitch because it's so much better streaming, but can I just add? But anyway, it was just great, and they didn't take any offense to it. But you get some people, no matter how much you explain to them, in the most, like, to the point where you have to go into caveman, you need to understand that I am trying to help you or make you understand the situation because you've come to me to assume or you have come to me to complain, even though there was no problem, but you have created it out of your own assumptions instead of, and because you'll get so many
Yeah.
people come up to you and assume but not know facts, and yeah, you'll come across that a lot.
It's like you was coming from a place of a good place. You were there to try and help him, whereas people will just come in and insult
Yeah,
people for no
pretty
reason.
much. And like, there's always constructive feedback. You're always going to get it. Some people are not going to take it well, but that's their problem. At the end of the day, like, it's sometimes some people do go up and go, "Oh, you're bad." That's not constructive criticism. That's just them being an asshole. I mean,
It's been
like,
really good.
yeah, there's a defined difference. If someone's actually gone to message you and going, "Hey, look, listen, something, you may need to want to do this," and I'm not doing it because I think I know better. It's because I've had previous experience with it. It's not like that. The fact is that, like, I don't know, someone with like 16 followers tells me how to run my fucking streams. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, then you'd be like, okay, how would you know? You've only started like 3 days ago, and just because your parents have followed you, like, you're not an expert, mate. Fucking calm down. Uh, but yeah, it's funny how some people think. Actually, one person, and I know that you asked this as well to me. How did I get so many? Well, I don't know if you asked this. I think someone did ask this though. How did I get so many people in to watch, or like, how did I gain, like, for example, I think it was like 40 people were watching me at one point in one of my streams, and yeah, and
Yes.
like someone asked me like, how did I get those 40 people, and my simple answer was, no, this wasn't you, because you asked something relevant to it, but it wasn't the question that I'm thinking of. They asked, how did you do it, like I had like some magical button. And I was like,
You should have been like, well, for $5.99 a month.
you can also pay for the viewerships. If you just sign here, and in blood. And to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know if it's because of the game I've been playing. I don't know if it's because.
There's multiple factors, isn't there, that go into it. This is the thing with streaming;
Mm,
it's very random. It could be the time, the game, just the right people at the right time with your mix with your personality that get your personality. There's so
elements,
many
yeah,
aspects. So, like you said, yeah. So for someone to ask you, "What's the magic secret, Mister Opinionated?" Oh, this is my
yeah,
tonic for $9.99 a month. Like, it's just, there isn't one. There isn't a magic thing that makes people good at streaming or creating content in general. It's a learning process that people need to
you
understand.
find your
Like,
own
it takes time.
craft, basically.
Yeah, you got to find your thing that makes you stick out.
It's not like you throw
Essentially,
magic beans in
for
there
the
and
rest of
just
the
like
people.
watch the stalk of viewership go. Oh, I have to do jack shit if I carry on being on the stalk. It's like, it
Yeah,
doesn't work like that. And like, yeah, I even myself have been amazed. Like, some people that have been with me on the stream going, "Holy crap, over 30 people are watching," and I'm just like, there, like, yeah, I know. Da, 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 da. Welcome everyone to the stream. I hope everyone's doing well. Yeah,
slightly having a panic attack.
yeah,
Like,
it's
yeah,
just people
there's a
having
lot of people.
palpitations. It's not even their stream. It's like, boom, 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 boom. And no, don't get me wrong. I love it. I love the fact that multiple new people and that are interested and get like become part of the aura and like get sucked in just as much as people that have been there for years become new and become part of my community or Simply's community. It's so great, and that's why we're talking about the pandemic, because like even though the outside world right now is pretty much hell on earth, at the same time there is almost like a human element that people are reaching out to other people through, like, it doesn't have to be for streaming, it could be through anything, but the fact is that people are reaching out
Yeah,
and
like
trying to like do something different with their lives, or trying to find coping mechanisms, and they stumble upon people like us or other people, and then they become part of a new community or meet new interesting people all across the world. It, like, if you look at it in that perspective, we are like streamers or entertainers or influencers or whoever, as long as you just simply just say hi, that could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship or a beautiful thing that you discover in your life, and it could change it. You never know. And
and it could be the difference between someone having a
yeah,
brilliant week and a shit one. Like, and it's a wicked thing. Like a majority of the time in our Discord and in yours, it's not even to do with gaming. It's just general life. Like even as soon as somebody say, "What's everyone having for dinner tonight?" Do you know, generic questions that people would normally talk about with like their co-workers at work, or they go and see their family and talk about it, and or the friends, on the weekend, or just general things people would talk about. This is why I feel like online talking and Discord or Zoom calls or Skype or whatever platform you want to do it on, Facebook, whatever, is so important to people's health at the minute because of the situation that we're in. And it's so nice to know that what we're doing actually helps people on some level, even if it's the tiniest, even if all of it does is just puts a smile on someone's face for like 5 minutes. That's like an achievement in my eyes, really, because it's so nice to see that you've helped people on a level, um, from really not doing much other than being yourself and being there for other people, which I think is a big thing that people should take away from this whole lockdown thing. Is just try to be a bit more compassionate to other people. Like it costs you nothing
indeed,
to be nice to someone. So why do the people need to feel the need to be horrible to people for no reason, whether being rude or overly sarcastic or just generally giving negative vibes when there doesn't need to be. Like if I had like one message from this podcast, it would be that hasn't the world gone through enough this year? Well, nearly a year this last year. Haven't we all gone through enough as it is? Why not just be overly friendly to people just for the sake of it? Because it might help them feel better. You never know; it could make someone's day, and it might give you, um, an inner warm feeling of yourself that you've helped someone just by simply saying hello to someone or something. And that doesn't cost anything to be a nice person, which I think is what people really need to take away from this. Is just be more considerate and friendly to people. It doesn't hurt.
yeah. We
Um,
haven't gone to the point where we need to be hunter gatherers again, and then just like fend for ourselves and like stick to like groups, and whoever a newcomer comes around or someone that looks like needs help, you don't fucking cast them aside, dude. Like, just fucking help out. It doesn't cost a thing, as you said, and and and, and especially at this time where there's so many, a lot of people have this mentality that they think this is so bad, oh, why me, blah blah blah, and you're just like, you do realize the rest of the world is going through this crap too. Like, you really need to chop down that fucking massive pedestal that you clearly are on top of. Like,
yep.
it's so ridiculous. Life is not all about you. Yet sometimes looking after yourself is the number one thing, but at the same time, you wouldn't like, have like your mom or dad or an immediate family member or your best friend get hit by a car, but you'd be like, oh well, you know, and it's got plenty of time before that hits them, and you're just like, well, fend for themselves, dog eat dog world. No, you wouldn't have that mentality if it was actually someone you gave a shit about. So the simply of just saying hi or just trying to be, kind to other people, even if they're strangers, it's not a hard ask, is it? You know what I mean? It's not a hard ask. Like, kind of like, well, you know what? Similar to, I don't know, wearing a mask. You know,
Yeah, having consideration
yeah,
for
yeah.
others' health, maybe
Do
hint.
you see
Yeah.
where we're coming from?
Yeah, it all links together in one way or another. It's some weird, convoluted side story about streaming. We made a point somewhere in this
And you
in this
know what? I
podcast.
feel like we have. So, and at the 95-minute mark, I feel like that is an ultimate. Like we still got plenty of time to talk a bit more. By the way, I'm not saying that it's the end. Just to clarify, but I'm glad that it took us 95 minutes to have a self realization that that's the molding of these discussions. So anyway, like I said, one example I can actually say is someone like I've heard a lot of horror stories when it comes to COVID, and I know people that have died, and like on the first lockdown as well. I didn't know many people that got affected by it. It was when the second lockdown hit. That's when shit hit the fan. When people that I knew on
Mm,
a level, and it's just so scary the fact that one of your family members may call you, and it may be either a regular conversation, or two, oh, by the way, so and so's got this, and you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake. And again, when I say personal life intertwines while we're streaming, um, sometimes you will have those days where I'm just like, you know what, I can't stream right now because I'm not like I can't be 100%. And then sometimes that I have not broke down essentially on a stream, but you can tell that some yeah, you can tell that
reached your
something's
limit.
up, or it's a very familiar thing. Then there was actually one stream I wasn't particularly happy with, and I took it down due to the fact that I was getting you could start seeing the cracks, and I was getting a bit emotional, and that's perfectly human.
Yeah.
I find it strange when people find like, oh my god, that streamer's breaking down. This is so unusual.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like you're not allowed to have emotions because what? You're either a man or because you're someone on the internet that's providing entertainment, therefore you're not allowed to
Yeah,
show emotion in any way possible. It's like,
yeah.
but that makes you
Oh no,
human.
you need
So I
to
don't
be
understand. Like, if anything,
professional.
that
You
should
need
make you
to be
more relatable.
professional because people are watching. So you need to step up your game, gamer. Like,
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
it's a weird thing, isn't it? People are afraid, especially people that have this idealistic way how men should be, that they're not allowed to show any emotion whatsoever. They're not allowed. Why are you getting upset? You're a man. You should be getting upset, especially on a
Oh,
stream. That's
masculinity
embarrassing.
offending
Yeah,
masculinity. Oh my god, mate, that's a whole different podcast.
yeah, but it's just a weird one with that. I find that I
Yeah.
laugh at that quite a lot.
It's
I
odd to
find it
me
very
as
funny.
well, where people are just like, it's so like, oh, I'm sorry. If you have that mentality, does that mean that I should tell you to go into the kitchen and make me a sandwich? Oh, is that like offending you because you're a woman? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, because like, um, like as you said, you're the man.
That was a joke, by the
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
for
I know.
anybody
Yeah,
listening. He was
we're
joking.
all equal. We're all equal. Yes, we're all equal. Don't. Yeah, we're just
trying to
making the
make a
point.
trying to make a point.
Don't stop making that sandwich right now. Thank you. Thank you. um. So yeah, it's so weird when before this entire pandemic happened, there were already problems in the world as it is. The only difference is this one is universal, and we're all gotta stick together. We all
Hmm.
gotta be, just it's not a hard ask just to be, just kind, as we said. But the one thing I love about my community specifically, I don't know about you, is the fact that I've met people for quite a lot, I would say like on the average of like 7 months to a year or something like that. And the way I've talked to them and the way they've talked to me, it feels like I've known them all my life.
Yeah, I've had that with quite a few people.
And I tell you now, it's
Yeah,
such a surreal experience where you can just literally hang out or talk to someone, and maybe you're playing two different separate games. So like one person's playing like Borderlands, the other person's playing, I don't know, Uno or whatever. And you know what? You know what you do? You both don't talk, barely talk to each other, but it's the fact that you're in the same call, if that makes sense. So you don't.
we've had this conversation off podcasts, haven't we, before? How it's more about having just knowing that you've got someone there that you don't feel you're that comfortable with that particular person that you don't need to feel the need to have a
Exactly,
conversation. It's just the fact that they're there is like
exactly.
nice having company, which I guess again helps with the isolation.
And I hate the idea of some people are like, oh, you can only be that comfortable with a partner. That, my friend, is totally untrue. That is absolute
Oh, that's
bollocks.
bollocks. It's
Like
bollocks.
I like, for example, me and my friend Crazy Mom. Also she's on Twitch if you want to check her out. Yeah, she
Link in the
is
description.
also such a lovely human being when it comes to the fact that she's helped me out on my Twitch. She's helped me with things that I didn't understand. She's helped me as a moderator, but most importantly, above all that, she's been a friend. And
Few sound effects.
just gonna ignore that.
Sorry,
And
I'm going to put a fairy noise in there.
and the fact of the matter is that one time she'll be playing her bus simulator game, and I'll be trophy hunting on a different game, and sometimes we've not talked. As every now and again, there's a subject that comes up, or something that we've watched, or something that's happened, and we react to it, and then we talk for a little bit, and then we go back into silence. The fact that that is a rare kind of friendship where you could just be chill and just it doesn't mean that we don't have anything to say to each other because nothing has to be said to be knowing that we're comfortable around each other, you know? People have this like idea
Yeah.
where you have to constantly be talking and constantly. I know we're making a bad example, making a podcast. Anyway, but like some people have this like mentality where no, you have to make it not awkward. It's like you're only making it awkward if you think you're making it awkward. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you both feeling uncomfortable on a one-on-one, maybe there's a reason for that. You know, like at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I've always been that kind of person that like I will talk to anyone if they're like if they've shown the same kind of kindness that I give. Anytime that someone's being an ass for the sake of being an ass, and then they come off, oh, I'm only joking. Come on, like I'm only kidding. Like I'm just like, fair enough, you're only joking, but if you just met me and you already come off of this persona to identify yourself as this person, it's not really a good look. Like the basic human, yeah,
It's not a good first impression. Yeah.
basic human functions and communications is hi, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. When you first introduce each other, and then the seed spreads of your different personality traits. Not going dive in and going, oh yeah, you're an asshole because I'm the funny one of the group. Like it's like get a grip, bitch. Like Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's funny. Despite the pandemic, you meet people with different personalities and with upbringings and stuff. And I think I've met so many wacky kind of characters during this, and especially now that I stream much more, and now that I've met even more people, because a lot of people now watch streams because they're staying indoors because of the isolation. Um, it's fun, but sometimes it's like, really, do I have to deal with this kind of person right now? I don't want to deal with this kind of person right now.
It's nice to know there is some nice people out there that you can get to connect with and just generally have a nice time, which will help you get through this whole crappy situation. Best thing is just to ignore the knobheads, of which there is going to be many, especially in the streaming world,
Yeah,
unfortunately. But
it
that's just kind
comes
of
with the
what it is.
package when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Which is generally how life is as well. You're going to meet some knobheads and you're going to meet a lot of nice people, but it's learning how to get rid of those toxic people and keep the nice ones and the ones that actually make the effort to talk to you and spend time with you and get to know you as a person and accept you for who you are, and just get rid of the ones that don't, because that's their problem, not yours. So don't change
Exactly.
for people.
At the end of the day, like, if you have an issue, whether if it's a family member, your partner, a friend, and if you don't feel comfortable about it, about something that, well, first off, talk to them. But if they're the ones that are creating the issue, then again, talk to them. Why hide? Why? Because you no longer be your partner anymore? Will you think that your family member will disown you? Do you think that your friend won't be your friend anymore? Well, be honest. Say something. Do something. Don't live in silence. Because if you do, you're forever going to lose people around you because of it. And that's the last thing that anyone wants, especially in a time there. This is no time for losing people. This is a time for things to grow. Even, huh?
Building bridges. It's a time for building
Exactly.
bridges rather than smashing
At the
them
end of the
down.
day, people have choices to make, and and the world that it is right now, that it's more important than ever to just don't don't be petty. Just, yeah, just don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Be It's like, if you haven't talked to you, like, I don't know, like, if you and your mum haven't spoken 7 years because you didn't wash the dishes one day,
What's the
and
matter?
it created this entire thing where you moved out and went to a different country, and now you know that she's like, and
Sorry,
you found out she got
dishes,
married and has
yeah.
3 extra kids, but she's like a no, and she only works now as a washing the dishes. Come and say to her, look, I forgive you. Yeah.
I'll wash the fucking plates, Mum.
Do you need
Jesus
help
Christ.
rinsing those cups? It's not a hard ask.
This is sidetracked again. Oh my god. Why does this
What?
always happen?
What is?
But yeah. I get I
Yeah,
hope that you get
exactly,
what Mike's
exactly.
getting at, because he loves going off on a tangent.
Look, it's a trend. No, it's my calling card.
Which was awesome. The lubes were grey. The fuck was coming.
Look, it's my calling card, man. All right, so this is my thing. Okay, like, it's not like
Oh,
you haven't
fucking
done it.
hell.
Yeah.
Oh no, I totally have. It's just it happens every episode now. It's just a thing people have to expect. What they're on about? This
Why are
isn't
they
what the title
talking
is.
about a mother disowning their child because dishwashing? Yeah,
Of
what is
washing
this
up.
madness? um, but you know what? The funny thing is, a little insight background when it comes to the podcasting. Me and Simply have a bit of a discussion before we do our podcasts, and the one thing that I love, um, as an example, is the fact is we're not all like professional and stuff. Sometimes we'll be like, um, do you want to talk about this? Do you want to talk about that? Do you want to see where this goes? Do you want to see where that goes? But you know what happens during this entire, that one piece of tiny information of professionalism, is the fact that we have a laugh. It's the fact that we're friends, and it's the fact that even without the podcasts, we talk to each other. We see how we are. And sometimes when he opens up the audio video, all I see is a big chin staring at me. But yeah,
Yeah, man,
hot as fuck.
attractive.
Hopefully he gets OnlyFans because he'll be fucking. Well, it'll be basically like a giant slip and slide.
Jesus Christ.
But what I'm getting at basically is that we have helped each other out, and I think even if you haven't seen your friends or your family or your partner because of this, and even if people that you haven't spoken to in donkeys, just give them a call, just give them a message, say hi, how you doing? And you know what? It's just nice. It's one of the greatest feelings ever. Because someone actually messaged me and they haven't spoken to me for 10 years and they randomly said, hi, how you doing? I was like, wow. I literally looked back. The last time they talked to me was 2012. I was like, damn. And you know what I did? I replied back. Told the fuck off. No, I replied back. And it was great. And we're just continuing talking now. So it's great. You know,
Anyway, in closing statements, because we're coming to the end of this now, kindness is free. So the biggest thing about lockdown, to help you get through it, is just try and be there for people because it doesn't cost anything to be nice. The world could do with a bit more kindness in it, especially at these current times. I know we've got massively off track yet again about all sorts of silly things, but hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. As usual, all of the links will be in the description box below. Make sure you go drop us a like and subscribe on both of our channels, which is Mr. Opinionated and Simply on YouTube. Again, links in the description. Thank you for watching.
We've been Simply Opinionated, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Take care.